Welcome back to Rent-Free History with Kemdi Wosu and Peyton Cronin. Today we are joined by our first guest in a very long time, Leanne Linsky. Leanne, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great and better now that I'm here with you two.
That's great to hear. Leanne is a stand-up comic, not our first stand-up comic on the pod, but the first to, I guess, own her own business. And I'd like to talk a little bit more about this business before we get into anything. So it is called Plauzzable.
Yep.
And could you talk a little more about that, Plauzzable, and
Sure.
what it means to stand up and what it means to you and how you got into it?
What would you like first? What it is? It's a live comedy platform. So it's basically the infrastructure for live stand-up comedy online, meaning that if you log in as a comedian, you get all the tools to schedule, to charge tickets, to list your events on our directory, have your own comedian profile in the comedian directory, and host your online events on the Plauzzable platform. So it's all one thing, all in one place, so you don't have to cobble many technologies together to make something happen. And then as a fan, you can log in, create your fan account, and then you can peruse the directory of events, either on Plauzzable or in person. So comedians can also share what they're doing in person, and people can find them there. And they can look through the comedian directory. They can pay for tickets for online events, or they can attend free ones, whatever they're in the mood for. So it can connect people virtually from anywhere with an internet connected device.
Now, I know you mentioned a lot of kind of going past like the certain industries that you'd have to go through, like with like Ticketmaster or just like other kind of venues and stuff like that. How important was that to you in making sure that like people had like more of like a direct access to you and other comedians?
For payments? So I was basically, I should probably back up just a second because this will make more sense that way, because these are really good questions of how I got there. So I had been doing comedy in New York for many years. And then I moved to the West Coast. And once I got to the West Coast, I suddenly found myself spending more time in traffic than I did on the highway. And I was like, well, this is a bummer. How do I solve this problem? Like, of course, want to continue doing in-person stuff. But in between those things, if I'm working out jokes and want to just do an open mic, how can I do that without wasting a lot of time or gas money? And I was like, well, I could maybe do things online. Now, mind you, I moved from New York to LA back in 2014, 2015. So when I started my initial move, I had talked to my comics because I had been running an open mic in New York for many years. And I was like, hey, what if we stay connected via Skype? Remember Skype? And everybody was like, maybe, And I'm like, well, maybe this new thing, Zoom. And they're like, Zoom? I was like, So then I got here. I was sitting in traffic. I'm like, maybe I should really consider that whole idea, because then the comedians that I'm meeting here in the LA area can meet the people in New York that I know. So I had this idea, and then I put it on the back burner because life gets lifey, and I started producing in-person shows, and I started podcasting and doing all that. So initially, my thought was to create a platform where we can connect via the internet, and I could stay in contact no matter where I was in the world without having to drive somewhere, right? Just making it super accessible. So that was the first problem I was solving. So then coming back around to like what you're saying is for comedians not having to cobble together existing technologies, but how can they charge for tickets? Maybe instead of using Eventbrite and then a WordPress site and all this stuff. I thought, okay, well, I didn't start out thinking they were just putting together all these things because that was what I was doing. So I started experimenting with things just like that prior to COVID. So in August of 2019, BC, before COVID, I started doing things online, cobbling things together, using the things. And then people started showing up. And they were like, hey, this is cool and different. I'm meeting people from East Coast to West Coast. And then some comedians were like, why would I ever do that? And then lo and behold, COVID happened. And then suddenly everybody's doing all of these things, right? So now everybody's cobbling things together and figuring out a way to stay connected during a pandemic, which is great. Not the pandemic part, but the great that people were starting to do these things because now they had to expose themselves appropriately, of course, to technologies they might not have otherwise done, right? So comedians who are like, no, I'd never do things online are begrudgingly doing things online, right? But the good thing is they're getting familiar with tech besides just a microphone and a stand on a stage. So during that time, I was like, these technologies are great. And I solved the problem of sitting in traffic, but they presented me with new problems. And some of the new problems were technologies. Some of them weren't designed for online entertainment. Clearly, they were designed for meetings or just had a different vibe and feeling, and mics cut out. And, everybody's like, oh, you're muted, all the things, right? I'm like, how do I solve some of those problems? And while I'm at it, I've been doing comedy long enough to know there's plenty of other problems. Just ask a comic about what's troubling them and you'll hear and get an earful, But what other problems we have? Well, comedians don't typically get paid unless they've been around for a while, they're a feature or a headliner. And even then people get paid, with drink tickets or maybe a free burger or just, hey, I'll get you next time, or gas money or tips. Like you're not getting employed by a Fortune 500 as a comedian unless it's like a one-off entertainment, one night event or something, but you're not an employee. You're not getting benefits. You're not getting paid. And I was like, how do I solve some of those problems? And I started looking at, because people started using a lot more social media and all of that really kind of took off, right? And TikTok, and people are like, oh, I can get 1 million subscribers or hundreds of thousands of followers or X number of views, and they can start earning a small percent of some ad money. And I'm like, that's great. There's some potential there, but that's a lot of hoops to jump through when your goal is just to perform live in front of an audience. So I was like, here's some problems to solve. So Plauzzable, by integrating our own ticket system for online events, it gives the comedian the opportunity to create their own event, charge whatever they want to charge, and they don't have to have a minimum number of followers or fans or likes or anything. They can just go on, create their account, put up their listing for their event, and then do their event and charge a ticket price for it. Even if one person shows up, they've made money off that one ticket sale. End of story. It's that easy. So, that doesn't happen in a club. They're not going to give you a cut of the door. They typically, again, give you a small fee or something like that, especially if you're not a feature or headliner. So that's what I was trying to do with Plauzzable. And that's why I decided to integrate a lot of things into one platform so that it's a one-stop shop for a creator coming in. I'll use creator interchangeably because that's a very understandable term for people now. But if a comedian's creating their own shows and classes or podcasts on Plauzzable, they have all the tools they need without any out-of-pocket expense. So a long way to answer your question, but I hope that helped.
It did. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to take it back a few steps up and just kind of go into how you got into comedy and what made you think like, I want to do this for the rest of my life.
So I never had I'd never set out like when I was younger, like, oh, I'm going to go out and be a comedian. I grew up in a family with very funny parents and very funny siblings. My brothers and my parents are all hilarious and they have natural comedic timing. They're very good with their joke telling and quick wit. And so that was just part of who I was growing up. And then what happened was after I graduated college, I got this really good job. And no matter what my role was in the company, I was always emceeing all of the events. I found myself doing a lot of public speaking, and I always naturally integrated humor into it. But my events got bigger and my themes got, more creative. And I was like, oh, I want to do a late night TV monologue type thing for this event. And I was like, how do I do that? So I decided to take a continuing ed class at the university. And I signed up and took the class and wrote a set. It was terrible, by the way. But I loved the process. I was like, this is really cool. Like, yeah, that was bad, but how can I get good? And then fast forward, I'm still doing this great job and, or I have this great job, I should say. I don't know if I was doing a great job, but I had this great job and I was doing more events and doing more public speaking. And one of my coworkers was like, hey, the Second City now has a training center in Las Vegas. And so I had grown up in the Chicago area. So I was familiar with the Second City. And then I had gone to Las Vegas for school and stayed there. And that's where I had this job. And when, Second City opened a training center, and I was like, oh, I'll check that out. And I took my first improv comedy class and fell in love. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do this all the time. Like, it was so fun. It was ridiculous, silly fun. And so I took all their classes, and then I took them all again. And then I took some of them 3 times. So that's how I started getting into comedy. And then fast forward, I was at that great job for nearly 13 years and I got laid off. And I'd always told my comedy friends, like, if I didn't have this job, I would move to New York. And they're like, what are you going to do now? And I was like, So one of my friends that I had met on a trip to New York had reached out and said, hey, heard you lost your job. I'm getting a sublet. Do you want to share it? And I was like, oh, let me think about it. He goes, you have 1 hour. So yeah, so I took a walk, came back, and I was like, all right, I'm in. And a month later, I packed up 2 suitcases and moved to New York. So that's how I always wanted to do it, but I had a good job. And if I had a good job, why would I want to be a comedian who makes no money? Or not a good comedian, So, but that's kind of how I fell into it. It was a long journey.
When you were in New York, I know that's that's one of the two really big places when it comes to comedy, New York and LA. Did you
Yeah.
kind of meet anyone or run into anyone that was kind of well known or popular in that scene that kind of inspired you or changed the way you looked at things?
I met a lot of people who weren't there yet, but they were ahead of me for sure. And now I see them on TV and in movies regularly, and they're amazing. And well deserved, like they worked hard. It was, I don't know. I don't believe in overnight success. So I know how hard they paid their dues. And I think that's really cool to see. I met people over the years. I remember doing a show at the Grizzly Pear, which is in New York. And originally it wasn't going to happen because no one was there. And then the host was like, I don't want to host if no one's here. I'm like, I'll host. So we all kind of switched spots in the lineup and everything. So I went up and started hosting. No one was there. And pretty soon people started coming in. And by the end of the show, it was like standing room only. And then I got off stage as I finished and wrapped it up, and Tracy Morgan was there. And that was just like the coolest. That's just proof to me is like the show must go on. You never know when or who's going to be in your audience. I'm not a fan of canceling things, when it comes to shows. Open mics, sometimes that happens, but when it comes to a show where you're really promoting it, I'm a fan even if one person shows up. If nobody shows up, I'll go ahead, and I've been in improv troops and stuff like that where nobody showed up, and it's like, let's just do our thing. We're here. It's an opportunity, and someone always shows up late, so they get something. But it's all being on stage is better than not being on stage at all. So, and you don't know who those 1 or 2 people who show up may be. So, yeah, it's been pretty cool. I'm trying not to name drop and things like that.
Of course.
But yeah, but like when you're around and you're taking classes, like good things happen to people, and it's just really cool to see people succeed, and it is inspiring, each and every one of them, even when they don't do the TV or film. And it's like, I ran an open mic for 7.5 years, and I remember seeing people do stand up for the very first time. And, nobody's typically, most people are not good when they first start. They can be entertaining, but they're not, Netflix ready or anything. But it's just so cool to see people evolve and get better and like go on and book shows and do really cool things in the city. And yeah, so there's a lot of fun moments like that. A lot, if you stay in it long enough.
There's that thing Malcolm Gladwell always says about like the 10,000 hours thing. How essential do you think like the open mics are to like kind of developing who you are as a comedian over time?
I think they're crucial. They're a vital part of the journey. I think open mic crowds are much tougher than regular audiences also because you're performing for a bunch of comedians who are sitting there in the dark shadows of a grungy basement, worrying about their own set and not really listening. So if you can make people laugh in an open mic, also comedians kind of laugh at things maybe audiences don't laugh at. I think it's a vital part to hone your skills. I learn a ton in open mics. And when I started my open mic, I wasn't doing stand up. I was doing improv and sketch comedy. So my open mic was for sketch writers to try out their sketches before they put them up in sketch shows. And then not enough people were writing things, or people were writing things, but it was hard to get people to come in and play roles, sometimes because people are super busy in New York performing. And then people are like, oh, let me do a storytelling, or let me try a character monologue. And then some stand-up started showing up like, hey, heard you got an open mic here. And I was like, oh, here come the stand-ups, and then I just let the open mic evolve. I'm like, if people need to work stuff out, they need to work stuff out. And it became this really cool experimental spot where by seeing other people do stuff, it kind of gave me permission to try things too. Seeing people try something for the first time, like, hey, I was just at this thing and they were doing this and I want to try something like that. I'm like, so for me, it's a vital part because you see a lot of things at open mics that you won't see anywhere else. Yeah. I'm like, oh, they're going to do that. how's that going to turn out? Yeah.
With being in stand-up and doing open mics for so long now, and especially after COVID, we're now in such a digital age. There's been so many different technological advances and evolutions. I have so many questions. I'm like, oh, I need to like sort through which one to like go, because they like could go all together, but then that's like, okay, first question, second question, third question. Have in recent events that you've either gone to or have performed in, how has the effect of social media, having phones and everything been on your audience? Like, have you seen that there's been a sort of a different shift in it? Like, people are less present, there's less engagement, or has it kind of heightened it in expanded audiences because of the use, like having that sort of outreach for being able to reach people more, I guess, than before?
Okay, so I'm going to answer this in a weird way. So I would say both. It's neither or. It's a mixture of both for various reasons. And also, I'll confess to you that I haven't done a lot or any in person in the past few years. And the reason for that is because during the pandemic, I didn't go out. I ended up getting sick really bad. But once towards the end of the pandemic, I moved from California to the state of Washington, and I was in Seattle for almost 5 years. And during that time, I was building my platform. I was building Plauzzable. And so my primary focus was on that. And and when I got there, I didn't intentionally not go anywhere. Most things were still closed, and it was very slow to open. And I was like, okay, well, that gives me time to do all of this, right? And then I never got back out again. I became a tech founder and started doing all of these things. And now I just in the last month moved back to California. So now I am back and I'm like, oh my God, I'm alive. I can go out. I can do things. Oh, traffic. There's that also. So my intention is to go out. But that said, what I've noticed in talking with all the people I see on my platform and in general is I think social media and technology, it expands people's reach. So I think people are discovering talent that they may not have otherwise seen, especially because geographics fragment the market. I mean, if typically if you don't see them in your area or in a local club, you're not going to hear of this person unless they're on TV or something, right? But now with social media, it's super accessible, and people are finding people all over the world, in the palm of their hand, which is fabulous. What the feedback is from comedians who are performing in clubs and everything is now the competition is steeper, because club owners and bookers are now looking for people with social media followings. So not only do you have to be good as a comedian, or maybe I should say, now they're not just looking, are you a good comedian? They're looking at, are you going to put butts in seats because you have a following and a way to advertise? So one does not necessarily, they're not necessarily the same
Yeah.
type of performers. But it's still, although technology has changed, comedy remains the same. It's somebody doing something funny in front of a live audience is the ultimate goal. How we get in front of the audience is what has changed based on social media. And then I think within the audiences, we can see, and we hear about it in the news a lot, about how some of our A-list comedians are not allowing people to bring in phones, and some people are upset about that. And then at the same time, as a comedian, I completely respect that, because if, and I'm guilty of this, if I see somebody their entire set on their Instagram or their TikTok, why am I going to go pay to see you in person? Number one, I just saw your whole set. So there's no surprise for me there. It's not like music. Like music, I can listen to the same song like a zillion times because I love that song, but it's not like that necessarily with jokes, right?
Mm-hmm.
They kind of have a shelf life. So I think that comedians who are performing in clubs and they're working something out for a streaming special on a major network or a streaming service, I can understand why they don't want someone on their iPhone or their Android taping it, because now you're blowing my big reveal on a streaming service where I'm getting paid for it, and there's a big contract there. So there's a lot of logistics that go into that. And I think that, I mean, I could go on forever. I think a lot of things, but if you're going somewhere, I always laugh, and I'm older and of a generation where we didn't have cell phones growing up, so we were very present. So to go see live music or live comedy, I can't imagine like messing around with my phone and recording it. Also, I've tried that and I'm like, why am I doing that? I'm never going to look at it again. I'd rather have a photograph of like, hey, remember that night, and then remember it as I want to remember it. But yeah, I don't go and tape and record things. And I don't know, as a comedian, I find I would much rather people put down their phones, and I'd rather see your beautiful faces smiling and laughing and having, that's the whole point of comedy, is we want to hear and see your responses in real time. And I think having that device in between us often complicates the situation.
Yeah, it's like kind of like a double-edged sword in that way, where now it's so vital to any sort of like performance or art based like, I don't want to say profession, but like just as a creator in general, I feel like it's so important to do it. Like it's almost necessary to be very on it, persistent, and all of that. But at the same time, if it's that much, then will your audience be more focused on getting the one, like the best joke at the show, or like the like actual like banter between the audience? Because then that could be different at every show. So it's like, how do you go about like limiting that? But you don't want to limit it, because it's like, oh, like we could reach more people and like find more connection. But I know that at least for me, even doing because I'm an actor, and recently a lot of the auditions and stuff I've been doing have been solely online, including callbacks, so it's just been over Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just completely different when you're in the room.
Yeah.
But it's awesome because it's like you can see these people, and it's like, yeah, it's like 6 p.m. You're gonna see me from the waist up. Like I could do this audition in my pajamas and like really channel like this full character. Like from the waist up, I'm ready, but I'm also comfortable and ready to like sit down as soon as it's over. Like the adrenaline wears off, and it's like, whoo, like full like collapse. But it is a totally different experience, and that's not saying that it's bad or anything. But that's why like I was so excited that we were able to bring you on today to chat, because I'm super into the different technological advances and the effects of social media, like everything in this modern age on people now, especially when it comes to the entertainment industry, because I feel like it's so complicated and it's so fun to just like pick apart. And it's like, ultimately, it kind of feels like you're just making like a giant like pros and cons list, but it's a fun pros and cons list to go back and forth on, like,
Yeah.
and trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I'm glad that thanks for sharing that you're an actor, because that's really key. Because even when you look in the acting world, how much things changed. I mean, auditions, perfect example, right? But even how we consume the product you're putting out. I mean, before we used to only, think back many, many, many years and years, a century ago, it was only live on a stage or in a park, or, think of really old times, right? And then eventually it was silent movies, right? And people had to do it, and there was no sound, and then people went to a theater to consume it. They weren't consuming it necessarily in real time. It was pre-recorded and put on a big screen. And then eventually we had sound, and then we had color. So, but people were still acting. Like your skill and the craft that you're honing is still acting, but the method in which it's delivered is totally changed. So there are actors who will do plays, and then there are people obviously who do commercial work, and then there's people who do your television and film. So it's just a preference of medium. And I think that with comedy is very similar, because when comedy first started, you think back in vaudeville, right? Comedy was just a small part and a larger show where maybe you had live animals or magicians or singers or dancers, right? And then you'd have one person doing a shtick, and then the next thing come up. And then it evolved, like, if you think in the Catskills, think the marvelous Miss Maisel, right? Like, she would go to the Catskill, because then comedians would start having they were the act. People would be like, oh, I'm going to see a comedy show up there. And then comedy clubs were born in like the 70s and 80s. And then everybody wanted to be go to a comedy club, because you're not going to get all the other things. You're going to go there strictly for comedy. And then the headliner was born. Like, who's going to have the longest amount of time on that stage? And that's where we started to see the bigger names. And then, and then you go into television. Well, even before then, or way back, even before the clubs, you had radio. We had Jack Benny. I went to Jack Benny Junior High, by the way, in case you know who Jack Benny is, because he was a radio comedian. But then you had television, and then late night was born, and then Johnny Carson. So someone going on Johnny Carson, like, that could make or break someone's career overnight just by appearing as a guest, right? So then that changed things. And then all of a sudden we had specials, suddenly because of film and TV. And then people would go on to sitcoms. A lot of funny people went on, became actors on sitcoms. And then you had all the specials. So again, it's like, comedy has always been there, but the method in which it's delivered changes because technology evolves. And so with all the social media, even though like right now there's a lot of debate, sometimes with comedians about, is that real comedy if it's on social media, or, is crowd work this or that? But it's just another vehicle to deliver a joke to your audience. And I don't think in person would ever be replaced. Just like I think plays will always be a thing.
Yeah.
I think they'll always be a thing, and auditioning for them in some way, whether it's in front of people in a real room or on a virtual room. So I just think it's a vehicle that's changed, and it's just constantly evolving. People are like, stop it.
It's like, oh my God, you can't keep up almost. People are trying
Right?
crazy things now. Some of like the short form comedy now too is like so insane. I'm like, wow, good for you, man. Like, that's like 2 million views. Like,
so
I would have never thought of that.
I'm so glad you said that, because things like TikTok, now people are thinking in terms of like, how can I do something in 30 seconds, right? But not, there's a whole subset of comedians that are like, I want to do that. And then there's also comedians who like, I still just really want to engage in real time and at a more intimate level. And I think that's like part of why I really wanted to create Plauzzable, is to solve some of the problems, but also make it more accessible. A live show in real time where we're all in the same room, like the three of us here together, and we can talk and see and hear each other. Because that's what I live for, is being around people in real time, whether it's in person or online. Obviously, in person gives us a bit of a different experience, but I still like this better than I do having the fourth wall and not knowing what anybody's thinking until someone leaves a comment, whatever that may be. And did they really watch the whole thing or not? I don't know. So I don't know how to take that, but I wanted to bring back the opportunity. Okay, so sure, it's not in person, but it's not meant to replace that. It's a bridging a gap and finding a way to connect in real time with people from anywhere that we might not otherwise have been able to do so. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a perfect in between. And we love accessibility. It was like we love giving more people opportunities to connect.
Yeah. And it's so cool because when we get into a show or an open mic on Plauzzable and we have people from, several different countries all popping in at the same time, it's like, how cool is this? Like, we're all laughing at the same thing. We all come from all different corners of the world. Corners, it's round. But,
and some people don't think that,
this is true. So, so let's confuse them more. Yeah. So yeah, people from all over, and I just love that we can come together and find so many things in common in this format. And people have become really good friends I've seen in our community, and now they travel and they perform together. They'll fly to all over the place. It's really crazy awesome.
What would you say is like your proudest moment since launching Plauzzable, like company wise?
Not quitting, I guess.
You know what? Fair enough.
Yeah.
Period.
I mean, okay, you're an actor. I would be lying if I was like, oh, why am I doing? Of course I have those days where I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? This is really hard because it's not easy. I think some of my proudest moments are at the end of an event online where I see people like having a good time and doing what it's meant to do. Like that's what it's made for. To me, that brings me a lot of joy to see other people enjoying it and doing really well. Those are the moments where I'm like, that's really cool. And then those times where I look in the mirror, I'm like, hey, you. No, I don't. I'm like, oh God, I aged like 20 years since I started this project. Holy crap. Yeah, I do say that. I'm like, oh my God, I just took 20 years off my. If you want to easily, age yourself, start a business.
Well, where do you see, speaking of business and Plauzzable, where do you see the company going like 5 years from now?
Mm-hmm. Well, I would like to continue to see our community grow. I'd love to see it just so many more creators and comedians and fans on here. The more the merrier. That's really what I want to see. I want to see continuous growth. That's the goal. I want to see people having a good time, and it being a place that doesn't create all the anxiety and and panic or distrust. I want it to be a place where people go to feel better.
A good safe space.
Yeah. This is your safe space. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
I do have 2 last questions, and then I'll pass it on to Peyton if she has any more. My last 2 questions are: if you could watch any legendary comedy performance live, what would it be? And then for someone who's always wanted to try stand up but is terrified, what would be your advice to that person?
Okay, so what would I want to see? Oh, okay. So I think because I'm in Long Beach, California, I think that's where it was recorded. Richard Pryor, one of his live sets was out here that I've seen online, and I was like, oh, that would have been cool to be there. That would have been really cool. Another one, I think it would have been really fascinating to go back and watch a live taping of the Lucille Ball show. So,
Ooh, that's a good one.
I think that would be so two totally different experiences, but both people have made such an impact on comedy in different ways, and I think that would be quite remarkable. Oh, and what would I tell a new comedian who hasn't done it yet? Let's go. I'd say, check out an open mic. Put your name in. If you're really worried that you're not going to be good, put your friend's name in and tell them you're them. Have fun with it. It's, the worst that's going to happen is that you're going to bomb. And if you plan on doing comedy for any length of time, that's just not an if. It's not an if, it's a when. Like, it's just going to happen, and it's going to happen often. So, yeah, I'd say just, get it over with. Get up there, have a good time, and see what happens. It's not a pass or fail. It's an experiment.
We got to take the leap.
That's
Take
right.
the leap, the audience.
Right? It's like I've done some bad auditions before, and then I think back, I'm like, why didn't anybody tell me not to do that?
No, yeah. It's always like, for me, it's like, oh my gosh, I just got the perfect take. And then I watch myself back, I'm like, I really thought that was the best I could do. Okay.
Right?
Like, that's a choice. Or choices.
Or not, like.
Yeah, like the lack of choices.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Peyton, you got anything else to ask?
I don't have. I found a fun fact
Ooh.
in looking up stuff from this episode, because like comedy has always been around. It's been such a fundamental part of our society because it's a very expressive and creative way to express yourself. But that sounds like I just said the same thing twice. But it's been so fundamental for societal critique and being able to, I feel like, honestly evolve as a society by being able to poke at all these things that are wrong or things that we want to change, want to grow as a collective, just community of humans. So with it always being around, like, yeah, it's hard to trace back to what the first joke was, even though I'm a firm believer that, yeah, it was just cavemen doing slapstick, like, obviously, like, duh, like, just exaggerating some grunts while slapping each other with giant sticks and stuff. But I found out that the first ever recorded joke was actually in 1900 BC. It was a fart joke, and it's on a Sumerian tablet.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's how they recorded it?
Yeah, I guess just on a tablet. And I didn't see it. I should have looked up a picture. I just found it, and then I just imagined it myself. And I was like, that's probably funny. I mean, I assume it's funny, but
fart jokes are always funny, right? Unless you're at a dinner show.
Yeah. It was like, and then I was like, oh my gosh, has it always been like lowbrow humor? The next one after that was more like just political satire, which I'm like, okay, that makes sense. All these different regimes rising and falling and slowly catching word about them. I can imagine the different jokes that could have spun up from that. But I was like, I think it's interesting that the lowbrow humor was what we did back then.
I think there's a time and a place for all of it, Like, there's a lane for a lot of things. Like, it's interesting. Yeah. I love that you shared that fact. I didn't know that. That's really true?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. At least in my research. Well, it's probably going to be the one time that it's like, actually, it's not true. It wasn't like Wikipedia or anything.
Okay.
Like, I went through a site. I was like, I can't remember
Harvard
the exact
Business
name
Journal?
of it, but because I was like, as I started like going down like a little rabbit hole of like some like nicher things, and then it got to the point where it was like this is just like my own opinion that I'm asking Google, just in a different format.
So if you ever have either of you used AI? It's funny, or like the Google, and then it gives you the AI answers. If you ask enough, it starts to like morph into this sad, sorry state. Did you guys ever see that movie Multiplicity?
Oh, with Michael Keaton?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so Peyton, if you haven't seen it, highly recommend. It's an older movie. It's been a long time, but basically the gist of it is this guy, family man, has a good job, but he's got too many irons in the fire and he doesn't have enough time to like focus on any one thing well. So he finds a way to clone himself, and then it works out so well. He clones himself again, and eventually he clones himself again to the point where he gets to like the 10th version of himself. And the guy, his name's Steve, and the clone is like, I like Pete the Thief. He was just like couldn't talk right. He was malfunctioning, and it's just the way he says that. I like Pete the Thief. He couldn't put like sentences together anymore. And I feel like if you ask AI enough questions or Google AI enough questions on things, it eventually Steve's out. That's what I call it. Like multiplies out. I'm Pizza Steve. The first joke was a fart joke. Like that's that's where we're at. I don't know. I thought it was hilarious. I'll have to work on that bit.
No, yeah, I've definitely asked questions like on Google before, but because it was so niche, or maybe I just went into like way too much detail trying to get to the thought, that the AI doesn't even pop up. And I was like,
yeah, you're too specific. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, a majority of the time too, like if it does, it's like just like the wrong information, or I'm like, this just can't be right. And then you just go to the link below and it's like, there we go. And I was like, this is probably why so many people act the way they do nowadays, because they just see the first sentence. They're like, this is the truth. This is the gospel. And it's like,
nope.
Have we thought about double checking, double clicking?
There you
maybe?
go. Right? Well, just do a little bit more work and you might find out facts.
Like,
I agree. That's why it made me think of that movie. I like Pizza Steve.
And I was like,
getting someone else to do
it out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my movie recommendation.
It's like, we'll gladly take movie recommendations. Add it to my little list.
Yeah.
Fun little...
And then you can be like, why did she tell me to watch this? What else do you have for me?
That's not you, Peyton. Anything else?
I don't know. I'm just like a little yapper. I don't typically like when it, for me, when I'm like interviewing people, it just kind of turns into like a chat back and forth. So I was just like, I don't know, we're just chatting. So I don't have anything specific.
Okay.
Like, oh, we have this. Cause like, I feel like we kind of touched on everything, but I'm also the kind of person to go like, doubling back on that, isn't it crazy? And then like elaborating further. So I don't know if we're going to go down like that rabbit hole today, but.
I'm all about rabbit holes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Rabbit holes are good on this podcast too. It's good for like clipping as well, because we turn a lot of these like podcast episodes, like we clip them up. So we'll like clip them up when like add video to them and like send them out to like get people to watch like the full episodes. And there's a lot of great clips so far with this one, especially the multiplicity one that you just mentioned.
Good. I feel like I'm adulting back here for you guys. Like, do I look professional?
Yeah, you're showing up. I like it. Like, this is a very professional setup. Like, I assume you do podcasts all the time, displaying your degrees. And what is that behind you? That rug thing.
It is a placeholder for a better piece of art someday. Honestly, that's what it is. I had gotten that years ago. So we just moved back to California, and there was already a hook on the wall. And I was like, oh, what am I going to put there? Because I don't want just like an empty hook glaring, And I was like, oh, I'll hang this up. Also, it dampens the sound slightly because it was a little echoey in here at first. So I'm not sure what I'm going to put there. I'm not sure exactly. I think it's a few steps above macrame. Do you guys remember macrame?
I do.
Am I dating myself? I used to do macrame with my mom as a kid.
No, you're good.
make a macrame plant hanger and then a purse. Yeah.
Yeah, and they have like all the decor, like the table runners and stuff.
Oh yeah, you can macrame everything. Like it was a thing. That and latch hook. Remember latch hook? Did you ever do that? I actually was like, oh, I should latch hook something, for like anxiety, like when I like just need to de-stress about something. And so I got a latch hook thing. And now I realize I'm too old and I can't see the chart of like what color is supposed to go where. I'm like, this is too hard. I can't do this. I can't just take this little hook and put it in there. I got to take out 3 rows of the wrong color yarn. So I'm done.
Yeah. I feel like with things like that too, like you never realize it's a mistake until it's like not too late necessarily, but it's like, it's always
late
just
enough.
like
Yeah. You're like, that's disappointing. What do I do with this now? Can I sell it on Facebook Marketplace? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like,
honestly, there's some weird stuff on Facebook Marketplace. That's honestly a comedy show in and of itself. Looking on some listings of Facebook Marketplace, because it's like, why do you have like a foot-shaped planter that you're giving away for free? Is it your foot? Whose foot is it?
Sounds like something Nickelodeon related.
Have you looked up hashtag home goods on Nickelodeon? Okay, the documentary on Nickelodeon. That's concerning.
Yes.
Have you seen on Instagram, if you look up hashtag home goods, people will go in their store and they're like, and so like if Peyton and I went in there and I'd be like, hey Peyton, excuse me, I'm looking for a reindeer that looks like it silently quit on the rest of the herd. And then she'd turn around and be like, well, I'm so glad you asked. And then she'd show me like this wire reindeer art that's there, and the reindeer looks all sad and depressed. And it's just like, so people pick up all the weird things you find in home goods and then do bits on them like that. That's a rabbit hole I highly recommend going down. Someone's going to get a show off of that. Not me.
No, yeah. That one's such a good one too. Every time they pop up on my feed, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to do this. But either I go in and it's so like average, or there's so many things like, oh my God, I can't pick. I just need to enjoy this for myself and not show anybody else.
Right.
Or it's like, are people going to think it's funny? Like sometimes it's like is this just tee hee ha ha to me and me alone? Or
well, that's just it. You never know, right? Like who would it remember the Chewbacca lady?
Yeah.
Where she had the Chewbacca mask on and it went viral. Like who would have thought that someone in their car putting on a Chewbacca mask would be that hilarious? Or the guy, the attorney who showed up in Zoom court during the pandemic and he's like, I'm a cat. I'm sorry. I'm a cat. I must have watched that 1,000 times. Like I should get some credit for the hits on that, but that I could not stop laughing. His eyes were sheer panic with a cat thing over his face. He's just like, I don't know how to, I'm not a cat. That's what he was. I'm not a cat. And they're like, yeah, we're pretty sure you're not. What's going on over there? He's like, I can't get this off of my face.
My favorite one of those Zoom courts was, there was someone who had like his license suspended and he was going to traffic court for it online on Zoom. And while he was on the Zoom, he was driving.
No.
Yeah.
No. Oh my God. That's like those thieves who burglarize someone's home and then they leave their wallet with all their identification there because it falls out of their pocket. I'm like, oh.
It's like the same energy as that one John Mulaney joke where he talks about like how DNA changed everything. Like back then in the old days, if you just weren't physically there, you could get away with the robbery. And you could be like, yeah, this is Johnny and the What's It Boys. And then you would just like have enough time to like spout like a catchphrase and then run away and like talk in your transatlantic accent.
That's very John Mulaney. Yes. Yeah. Oh my God. So true, right? Oh. Where are you guys calling from?
We're in the Inland Empire. Well, technically, are you Inland Empire?
Yeah, Temecula is. I just don't know how. I think I'm like on like the brink of it. I feel like that's just Temecula though, because it's very much like the commuter zone. So it's like
yeah, we're the Inland Empire, but we're not like the Inland Empire. And then it's like, yeah, like to some people we're San Diego, but we're not like San Diego. And then to other people it's like, yeah, like you're Orange County, but like you're not Orange County. It's just kind of like we're here.
I know. I'm in Long Beach, so I'm not far from you.
Riverside.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Look at, we're
I was actually
neighbors,
born
you
there.
guys. Really?
Yeah.
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 Awesome.
Yeah.
I love Long Beach.
We both went to school in Fullerton too.
Yeah.
So super close. And then my old roommate actually was a year ahead of me, so she did grad school at CSULB. So she's been up there. So I've been up there quite a few times as of recent, just like visiting.
So cool. So you guys are sweating it out like we are. It is so hot right now.
Yeah, this heat wave is miserable.
Right?
100%.
I'm
It is
not
unusually humid.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
Like I can't stand my hair.
Down. Right? Oh, hair. Hello, little boy Fauntleroy over here. I don't know what's going on. because the humidity. It's like, oh, what can I do? Got to be on camera. It's hard to do in the heat. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, God. I remember when I moved to Las Vegas. I moved there in 1990 with a car with no air condition.
Oh,
3 years. I think I was 3 years I had that car for my first 3 years. I was just a wet mess everywhere I went. It was so bad. I'm like, when can I get a new car? Yeah. That was hot. I'd have to roll the windows down and turn the heat on so the car wouldn't overheat.
oh my God.
Yeah. Someone told me that's a trick. I'm now rethinking maybe that was just a mean prank they played on me, but that's what I believed it, and that's what I did. I just turned the heat on, then I just like, oh my God, I'm dying. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, it's like as long as we get there, yeah, we're sticky, but like as long as we get to the destination.
Yes, that's a trick. Good luck on the 405. That's right. I'm scared of 405. This I got an accident. I was rear-ended on the 405.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was like in one of the middle lanes, so you can't go right or left. When everybody comes to a screeching halt, you just have to slam the brakes and hope for the best. And I didn't hit anyone in front of me, but the guy behind me did not get the message in time, and he came sailing through. I was like, oh God. Yeah. So that's what I think of every time I get on the 405 now. Yeah. It's a white
trauma.
knuckle. One foot on the brake, one foot on the gas. Ah, what's happening? Yeah. The worst. This is what happens to us in California. You know?
Yeah. This is like the podcast version of that one SNL sketch, the Californians, where they just talk about like taking different freeway. Yeah.
Right? Right? Okay. Yeah, it's the 405, the 5, the 710, the 99, the
57 to the 60.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over and out.
I was like,
that was a great sketch, by the way.
So good.
And so accurate. So accurate. Yeah. But I guess we could do the same thing in New York, taking the trains, all the number train and the letter trains doing the same thing. Oh, where do you live? Oh, Ditmars, take the take the N to the Q to the R to the 7. Yeah, all the things.
It's like casually speaking in code.
Right? And anybody else is like, what? I'm trying to keep up, nodding like they know.
She's like, is this a real life like keyboard smash or like?
Well, it's funny because when I was in New York and people from LA would come into town, they're like, hey, can I get a spot on your show? I was producing a show. And I was like, yeah. And then they come on and they tell traffic stories. And everybody in New York is like, I don't even know what you're talking about right now. Because none of us drove anywhere. So, yeah. It's funny how that works out. But I'm glad to be back. I miss New York. Have you guys spent any time in New York?
I went when I was really young, like maybe 5 or 6. So sometime in the 2000s, I have no memory once I got off the airplane. So I know I went there, but just everything afterwards is a blur.
It's so good. It's so
Yeah.
good. Have you been there, Peyton?
I haven't, but I've always wanted to go. I would love to see Broadway shows, but there's some that are off Broadway right now that I would love to go see. So definitely want to make a trip soon, because it's just been something like I've always wanted to do, and now that I'm like really trying to pursue acting, I was like, I want to be in the places with the. Oh my god!
Oh no, you're in the dark.
No.
Did you leave
Where
to New
is it?
York? What
There we go.
happened?
It's like, I'm gonna go right now. I'm like,
You're like, bye.
it's like, sorry guys, carry on without me.
It's a recurring joke that her camera, like her light, kind of just like goes out, like near the end of every episode.
Is that her signal? Like, wrap it up. Wrap
No.
it up.
We did one episode and we were talking about like different like internet horror and stuff. And
Yeah.
Oh,
I went to talk about something, like Kemdi handed the mic to me and I was like, I'm so excited to talk about this. And then I introduced what we were talking about and then it shut down, but I had a red light in the background and I couldn't get the light back on. And I was like, you know what? We're just gonna do this whole segment in the dark with like red light.
He looks
how
so scary.
appropriate.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know that Kemdi was like, okay, now that the segment's done, can you turn your light back on? I was like, I hope it works now. 'Cause I was like, I'm starting to scare myself. I'm like talking about it and I'm like looking behind me. I'm like, girl, you're the one talking about it. Like nothing's there. You're the scary thing.
So you guys were talking about internet horror, like scary things that happened on the internet?
Like kind of like internet urban legends. So what's Slender Man was a pretty popular one. It's like this kind of like white, like thin figure with like no face. And why am I blanking on how to describe him?
He's just like, imagine like a very, very lanky, detailless man. Like it's literally, he's like, the base of him is like a white, very detailed, like he doesn't have hands or like feet, I don't think. He's just very like, almost like a doll looking, but it's just all white. But then he's also like in a tuxedo. Or maybe not like a tuxedo is the best way to describe it, but like he's in
Where
like
do
a
I find
suit.
him?
I
can
want to see if
share
I
that
can
with-
send something. I don't know how this chat. Oh, there's a chat function. Let's see if I can send something.
Yeah. But the interesting thing about Slenderman too is he got really, really popular and it was like people were kind of going with the narrative of like, oh, like how do we make this feel real? And it got to the point where it was convincing people to try to sacrifice people to Slenderman. Like he became an actual like idol to some people. And there's like this super famous case of these kids that brought they had like one of their classmates come over for a play date and they went in the woods and they stabbed her like
20 times.
20 times.
Is
Yeah.
for real?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she ended up surviving, but that was they were like, yeah, like we were sacrificing her to Slender Man. So then they had to go into court and be tried as adults for attempted murder because they were trying to sacrifice somebody to a fictional urban legend that I think he just started out as like honestly a piece of art, and then people started making like little indie horror games based around him and just really like built up this character and this lore. And people were so enamored and fascinated that he just like took off and at this point is honestly like a big icon of like
Okay,
modern internet urban legends.
This goes back to where people really need to do a little bit more work about facts. Looking
Right?
things up. And like step outside, touch the grass, as they say. Like,
Yeah.
what?
And like, well, it even goes with it too, like talking about comedy, like with people not having like these critical thinking skills or like this media literacy, like I feel like satire as a subsection of comedy has been so misconstrued and so it's just so not understood. Like I feel like people either take it too seriously or they just don't understand what people are saying anymore. And there are some things that like satire, you know, can wander the line of like being like offensive and making like an actual like, oh, like that's such an intelligent way to commentate about this big issue.
Yeah.
But the amount of times like I'll see people like doing satirical like parody videos even of different like out of touch like influencer celebrities, and people are like, oh my God, I can't believe you would do this, blah blah blah, like in the comments. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's hashtag satire. Like, this
Right.
is not real. Like, you just need to take a second. And it's like, and some people are good actors and like they even bait me, but then it gets so ridiculous that it's like you can't.
Right. Yeah. I think, you know, you make a great point is what is happening to people where they're not looking at what's real, what's entertainment, what's comedy, what's, you know, like they're not separating, they're not compartmental, like understanding what format they're watching anymore. And I also think, and we see this with email, I don't think people are reading. So even though something comes with instructions or something comes with information to give it context, look at headlines. People will read a headline, but they won't read anything below it to get the full context of a situation or to fully understand what's being said. Because I often have to read sometimes headlines or, you know, the heading of something several times to understand sometimes where they're going with it, because sometimes it's a bit misleading as to what the story really is. And you have to read more to get full context or a better idea of where it's going. And I just think that's lost on people. They see the first thing and then they react and type before they really think through, process it. There's no critical thinking at all happening, and that's very unfortunate. Yeah. And I think that's part of the problem with comedy is it's like, you know, people are like, well, that's not funny. First of all, comedy is very subjective, based on one's life experience and personal tastes and views and point of view in the world, right? That goes without saying. But that doesn't mean that a comedian should be attacked. Comedy is created to, one, hopefully make you laugh, but also there's an element of truth in comedy. So whether we like it or not, it can often provide insight or provoke thoughts. Provocative doesn't mean violent. Provocative means thought provoking. What if you think a different way? What if you reframe something and look at it from a different point of view? What if you think of things that you normally don't think about because you don't think you can think about those things? But I think that critical thinking element is missing, and people don't understand that line between what is art and entertainment versus what is a reality. And that's really sad. And that's where it gets a little scary, where people don't know what's real and what's not. That's very concerning. And I think that's the other thing that happens on the internet is, you know, in a comedy club or something, we can kind of see and hear things in real time, but we don't know where someone's at when it's on the internet. They could be anywhere in this world, and we don't, know if things are translated properly into other cultures or into other languages. We don't know where someone's at or what they're doing. Like, I even think sometimes the downside of like listening to someone's comedy online, it sure is convenient and it can be really cool that way. But if I'm multitasking and something's happening, what if I hear something the wrong way, or I only hear a piece and I miss the rest of the context? And I miss the whole point, So what are people hearing and what are they half hearing before they comment? That's weird to me. I'm like, I don't know. I'd much rather have a live audience, and hear crickets to know something's not working than to put something, in perpetuity online and then forever hear about how bad it sucked. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's kind of my thought on that.
Yeah. It's like everybody's just so reactive, and it's
Yes.
immediate. They don't give, because sometimes too, that's how they, I feel like it's a marketing strategy for some comedians to take the out of context thing and kind of use, because it's at the end of the day, all press is good press. If this is just getting a buzz and pushing, let's capitalize off it.
But sometimes I'm like, I was like, as just like a human being, you don't have the urge to like see why it just starts in the middle of it. Like, it's so clearly out of context. It starts in the middle of them talking, and you're just like, oh my God, that's so crazy that you're talking. And then like they assume the rest. I'm like, where did you get that from? I was like, I'm so happy your imagination is so powerful, but you're just automatically like, I can't believe you would go on and dare make a joke about this. And it's like, it's not even about that.
Right.
Where did you get that from?
Yes, I know. It's like, wait, what are we talking about?
Yeah, it's like losing the plot over just, and all you had to do is just like click. And like I've had it happen before where it's like it's multiple parts like sectioned off, and like, so you try to search for the other part and it's not up yet, or you can't find it because it's like from 7 weeks ago, and it's like, well, why are you recommending this to me now? But I was like, at least like the attempts. But I also have like basic critical thinking skills thanks to like a fancy degree on my wall. So it's
right.
Like, I'm realizing that not. I mean, you don't have to go and get a degree to have critical thinking skills.
No.
I'm just.
But
I don't know.
But it's super helpful. I will say that there's a lot of problem solving, and like there's something to be said about it, right? Because it's not just being told what the answers are and then memorizing and regurgitating it. It's about having to come up with theories or hypotheses and like think through, like, an experiment and report back on it and analyze. There's not a lot of problem solving and critical thinking. People, I think with technology, we're given a lot of things rather than having to think things through.
Yeah.
But technology isn't always accurate. And so people don't have the skill set to think things through. Like math, calculators, right?
Yeah. And the fancy ones where like they'll generate the whole graph for you. And it's like, I remember painstakingly having to figure it out. I mean, graphing calculators existed when I got to like that level of math, but we weren't able to use them. So then it was like, oh man, like now that I can't have it, I want to figure out the complex technology to figure out how to use it.
Yeah. And that's the thing too about the big controversy with AI and the arts, right? Because is it really art if it's made by AI? And me, like as a comedian, I like the process of creating. I like the process of joke writing. I like how that part of my brain can come up with something and make people laugh. I mean, is it interesting that AI can learn to do be trained through models to do those things? That's fascinating. And it can be used probably for good, but at the same time, as an artist, it's like, well, that's creepy. Like that's a human that there's so many elements of that come from the human experience. So, that's always a hot topic with artists, and that makes sense. It would be, right? Like, how does that play out? Because will people admit that they use technology to do things? Will it be as funny as if a human did it? Can it be? I don't know. I mean, do I want it to be? No, but will it? I don't know. Like, I don't know, what's going to happen next year? Are we all going to be here? Or are we going to all eat lettuce and that's the end of us? I don't know.
No, yeah. It's like,
I mean, let's talk about the lettuce thing. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, yeah, for real. Oh, I was like, you know what? I do blame the data centers for it though. Loki, like let's just, I don't know, maybe it has some
the data centers for the lettuce,
or like just like how like the data centers are like contaminating like water, like the suburban neighborhoods and stuff that are by. I'm like, you know what? Like,
that's an interesting thought.
Yeah, I was like, it's kind of like been my bit is just blaming it for everything, because it's like I think making AI art is terrible. I'm like, you can learn how to be an artist. Like it takes practice and kind of like putting in like the 10,000 hours thing. Like it takes time. And for me, it's crazy because like going through school, like having roommates, I had some roommates that I would pitch my different like script ideas to, or like my character ideas, like these different things to like workshop. And they'd be like, how did you just come up with that? And I was like, I just did. They're like, I can't do that. Like it's weird to think that some people don't, like, they just have a different way of thinking and a different way of going about the world. And it's sad that their automatic response is
I can't do it, so I need somebody else to do it for me. It's like the trial and error is a part of the fun, and I am like, AI is meant to be a tool. That's why it was created. AI can do good things in different fields, but by steamrolling this huge thing that's like a huge way of human connection and ultimately expressing like your own human experience, I'm like, why would you even attempt, and why would that be your first instinct to go and have it steamroll like that whole thing? Like, you're creating, it's like pulling from other people. One, like, it's just stealing content, but also it's like, it cannot encapsulate the emotions in your personal experience. It's like, why? Oh, it's so interesting. Because again, like, I think that like AI, it's not like, obviously, like, it's advanced, but AI has been around for a while and it's been a very helpful tool in certain fields. But art in general is like, don't generate art. Draw. Bob Ross has some very, very great and accessible like tutorials
on
too.
Tutorials.
Right?
And I'm like I'm right now, like, I'm a kid's art teacher, and I'm like, I promise you, if I could teach a 6-year-old how to paint, you can do it too as a grown adult. I was like, it might be harder to like find like the best techniques, but that's part of the fun. You make a mess and then it somehow turns out into like, wow, this is such a gorgeous portrait. How did I do that?
True. It's so true. I love that. And it's art is for me playing. I wouldn't want someone else to play for me. That's the joy of life right there. That's so fun. Like, where do we find our joy from? I wouldn't want someone to do that for me. I mean, because we also, how do we define our purpose in life? What is our purpose if we're not creating something, doing something, building something, whatever that may be? And I think that's terrifying to think, if you don't have to do that anymore, it's kind of like having a parent who enables a child, right? Doesn't let the child do anything. No, I'm going to do everything for my child. I want them to have it. But then the kid grows up and they don't know how to do anything. You know what I mean? Like, they don't understand consequences. They don't understand accountability. They don't understand the pride in workmanship and creating something, right? Like, how do you see value in things if you're never taught that? And a lot of that life experience is lost. And I grew up, in the 70s and 80s. And so we played outside all the time. We weren't allowed to watch TV. Like, TV consumption was to a minimum. It was only maybe for a few minutes right before bed, or cartoons on Saturday or Sunday or something. But other than that, we were outside. And if it wasn't raining or too much snow, why are you in here? And I think there's a lot of value to be had with being outdoors and being within community and amongst other kids and playing sports and learning how to socialize. You start doing everything isolated and passively watch other people live, passively interacting rather than being present in real time. That's why I'm not a huge fan of having devices at shows. I went to a concert recently right after we moved here, and we went and everybody's on their phone. I'm like, why? Like, but you're here. Like, I don't want to. You are here. You're actually here. So yeah, I don't want to be a passive. I don't want to be a passenger in my life's journey. I want to be fully present.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just thought of something. I hope I thought of it and it wasn't just something I'm stealing, but I was thinking about AI, and I was thinking that it gives ability, it gives talent or it gives the illusion of talent to those that are talentless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even, when you look at forms of AI on social media with all the filters and stuff that people use to make themselves, like, now ugly people look good. I don't know. But I mean, I use it. No, I don't. But you think of, or maybe we do, because on some platforms it automatically, right? And it softens the lines.
Does it for you. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you put it back. You're like, I don't want that. And you put it back and you're like, maybe I do just a little bit.
Maybe you're wrong about something.
But right, like when people post on social media and they post and you look at what they're posting, then you see them in real life. Did you ever see I don't know, there's probably several people doing it now, but there was a person who would post, this is what the image looked like. I recreated it, but this is what I really look like. And then you're like, whoa, they don't look anything like the supermodel pose that they showed initially. And then when they show like the behind the scenes, their figure and their face don't look anything like it, but they can manipulate all of the cameras and filters to make it look so good. And then you hear about how other people are suffering because they don't know how to make themselves look that good. Look at me. Yeah. Look at what's going on. The heat. But yeah. All AI is used in so many things. And yet we use it like on our devices, and I don't know, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting points, you guys.
Interesting indeed. This has been a great episode so far. I wasn't sure how long you could go for, but I'm glad you were able to talk for. This has been one of our longer episodes that we've done, and I've really
my husband's
liked it.
so thankful. My husband's so thankful because I have to get my word quota in, and you are doing his job. So he's like, let her just run out of gas on there. Let her run out of steam. No.
That's why I started this podcast, actually.
Yeah, for my husband?
Oh no, I just meant for me to get my word quota out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boy, you've hardly said anything.
I know.
I should shut up, let you get in. Yeah?
Nah. No, I kind of like it. I kind of like when I kind of just sit there and kind of just like, because I was really into the conversation you two were having. So, yeah.
I was like,
Well,
I'm
good.
a yapper at heart.
Yeah.
Same. Did you ever hear the term abracadabra?
Yes.
You know,
Like in
magicians,
magic?
abracadabra.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I guess it means like I create as I speak.
Does it really?
Yeah, look it up. Ask chat.
Oh, not chat.
I believe it. I create as I speak. And so in talking to people and like even in comedy and stuff, that's why I think open mics, going back, like open mics are like such a valuable part of the journey, is because when we write jokes, when we write in general, I don't know, I think when we write things down, we write stuff down for it to be read. But when we're doing comedy, you're not there to see me read something to you. You're there to see me perform, right? So even like Peyton, when you take the lines off a script, you're like, how are these delivered? What's the thought process behind them? Where am I at? All that stuff. So even though I may write a joke, I have to speak it. So I create as I speak. Same with improv. I create as I speak.
Wow.
Right?
That's cool. New
And
appreciation for abracadabra now.
Right? And so like in coaching, I learned, because before I started, when I started podcasting, I started a podcast. I thought, oh, it's going to be hilarious. It's going to be about relationships, like divorce, because I had been married and divorced a few times. And so I was like, oh, isn't that funny? Everybody else is going to want to think that's funny. And so I'll invite other comics who've experienced this. And then they came on and it was very serious. And they were like, and I walked away and I was like, wow, that was not what I thought it was going to be. Like, these are very serious topics. And they really brought up some very personal stories to share. And I was like, wow, I don't want to force something to be funny, and I don't want to make people uncomfortable by cracking a joke or something. And I had spent all these years talking to people from the stage. How do I talk with people? And so I started researching, how do I go about doing this? And life coaching came up, and I ended up enrolling in a life coaching school. And I spent several years taking classes on coaching and how to talk to people and how to be an active listener and really listening to what people have to say. And one of the things I learned is abracadabra. I create as I speak. And you kind of, as a coach, sometimes we have to like give people that time to like work things out verbally. And then suddenly they solve a lot of their own problems. So yeah, that's why talking through problems with friends is so important. going to someone and talking through something, or I have an idea and sharing that idea and talking it through because you're creating as you speak.
Yeah. It's like, I guess it makes sense. I mean, I know it makes sense. It makes sense to me. I'm like a verbal processor too, even about like the littlest things. I'm like, let me just talk out this very minor thing I have to do today. And people are like, okay. And I'm like, well, that's me. Thanks for listening. I'm going to go do insert thing that I just walked myself through.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just part of the process. And I think, wow, it's so important. And it's also equally as important, I think, is to have someone who will listen and just let you speak without, telling you no and all the like, what? That's crazy kind of things. So that's fun.
I did some half-assed internet research, and that is correct. It's apparently a Hebrew phrase, and abracadabra comes from the term. It's like an Aramaic phrase called avra cadavra, which sounds very much like the Harry Potter death curse thing. Yeah.
Oh, wouldn't it have been embarrassing if I were wrong?
It's like, actually, we just had this heartfelt connection. Womp.
Right?
Where's the buzzer?
So when you said that, I'm like, oh, thank God. Okay. There's always that element of like, what if? What if I didn't like hit, research enough on the old, but yeah, that it is really cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right. Well, I think we could wrap up this episode. Leanne, I've really enjoyed having you as a guest.
Thank you.
This has probably been one of my more favorite episodes that I've done so far. And
Me too. This is a fun one.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you both of you so much for the fun conversation. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. It was a lot of fun. And I meet two of you who don't live very far, so yay. Right? California.
Yeah.
I don't know what song that was, but
there's so many, I feel like,
right? Oh, great. Thank you both so much. This is really cool.
All right. And then is there anywhere that you'd like for people to check you out aside from your own Plauzzable?
You can find me on LinkedIn. That's exciting. Like, where do you go for a good time?
professional?
LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
Find me there. I think I'm the only Leanne Linsky ever. There's no more allowed.
Okay. Well, check her out on LinkedIn. I know you got a lot of LinkedIn people that listen to this podcast. And also be sure to check out Plauzzable. I'll be sure to check that out. I've always wanted to try a virtual comedy show. So, yeah.
Yes. And we have a monthly comedy contest that's always fun. So the last Sunday of every month, you can come in and vote for your favorite comic. So comics can come in and they compete with their best 3-minute set. And that's always a good time. That's always fun. You can check that out.
All right.
There's some good mics, good shows. I hope to see you both again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely love to have you on again another time.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you. And take care, everyone.